pondering upon what to speak of in this afternoon's broadcast. Should it be art? Criticism? Although criticism not a thing we really deal with on this channel. It's all sparked by one word generally, and I've just used a few and caused confusion in my application of myself as a channel host on YouTube 1911. Because doesn't time fly backwards? I think, and 100 years has been erased. I like it that way myself. I've applied for the job as the person in charge of altering time. They only do it twice a year currently. I have put in a proposal that each month the clock should be turned backwards or forwards by anything from 1 to 4 hours, depending on my intuition, perhaps, let's say my decision at that time, just to create some sort of variety, to ease the fear that's so inherently being accepted and allowed by the proletariat, let's call them, just being wobbling free. It's an old English proverb. People under 40 wouldn't understand it, and anyone who doesn't know English culture won't either. Nevertheless, no sorry, do not apologise, there is too much sorrow in the world already. I'm still at the bus stop for the cyclical bus. There's one bus, it doesn't cost anything to get on, the rest of them I can't afford to get on. Public transport, that. The public, and I am a member of the general public, although I have been denied access to public facilities by those employed to provide those facilities. In the past I have a letter unopened on the windowsill there of a matter that still is unresolved. Yesterday I considered, shall I open that and solve this? Because if there's a problem and it cannot be solved, that is because someone within the problem does not want to solve the problem. The problem I'm speaking of here, I don't want there to be a problem, and there was not a problem, and I, as far as I'm aware, proceeded within procedural limitations in my dealing with an accusation that was made at me by a person I considered had done that which they accused me of themselves to me. Anyway, I have the letter unopened on the windowsill. It will be resolved one day, and it's not resolved as I want there to be a problem. I do not want there to be a problem. I never did want there to be a problem. Nevertheless, it is unresolved as a consequence of me not opening the letter. Now, that is not to say once I open the letter the problem will be resolved. The chances are I will disagree with the content of the letter, creating a further problem, compounding the initial problem, and then it'll end in court. I'm quite willing to stand, even knowing that the system's courts will never admit they are wrong, as they cannot admit they are wrong. It is against their principles to admit they are wrong even when they know they are. We have covered this in a video this week. So anyway, I'm waiting for the cyclical bus that costs no paper or metal to get on it, and there are 3 people waiting, chatting, chat, proper chat about pubs and how they're not like they used to be, and they're all shutting down, and it's, I can't remember whose fault it was, but involved in the chat was, and women used to be able to go in freely and chat, and it's somebody else's fault. I'm thinking, I won't say anything because I don't drink alcohol myself, and these people probably don't go to the pub themselves anymore. They just chat about when they did go to the pub because they've been watching pubs on soap operas on television, no doubt, because they still play a part there. But I'm thinking, hang on a minute, a pub is just sort of a room that sells beer, and any complaints about the place would come from the users of it. So if you're not enjoying it, why is that? Because you're not enjoying yourselves, possibly. Anyway, it got on to, it was the government's fault because they're taxing everything, and I don't have a car myself, the lady said, but my husband says tax. I said to them, I at this point could not resist joining in the conversation, as I am a member of the public, they are members of the public, we get on as such. I believe, one of the few things I do believe. I said, and where did the money come from in the first place? She said, the taxpayers. I said, the taxpayers? Are you sure? She said, yes, it's the taxpayers' money. I said, are you sure it's not the government's money? It's definitely not the government's money, it's the taxpayers' money. I said, where did it come from in the first place? The taxpayers. I said, no, the taxpayers. If it came from the taxpayers and you're a taxpayer and you have complaints of lack of money because you need to pay it in tax to the government, as a taxpayer who creates money, then surely you can create some more money, and then you can give some to the government in tax and have enough for yourself. You're looking at me, what is he talking of? I said, are you sure it's not the government? Because I need an answer to this question, actually. I might send it out in a bulletin. Who owns pound sterling? Actually. Because apparently the government doesn't own it. And the Bank of England doesn't own it, as it's only promissory notes. I don't know what the coins are. Are they promissory coins? There's no lingo on them stating anything other than they are tokens of value or digital number. Anyway, I said, where did the money come from in the first place? For example, it does not grow on trees. There are leaves on that tree. If you want leaves, you will go to the tree and take leaves. If you want more money, where do you get it from? We work for it. And where does your employer get it from? You're looking at me. I said, that's what happened, really. When I said it doesn't actually exist, it's anything other than debt, well, I spoiled the day. I apologised. I said, I apologise for spoiling your day, for trying to bring some common sense into your chat with each other. You were talking words that meant nothing, that do nothing, that at this point the big blokes resonating, I'm going to hit you at me. I looked at him. I find they need looking at, these people. All people need looking at, they want looking at. I decided I'd just be ignoring them, you know. It's like, well, children, you know what children are like. You best just letting them get on with it, because sooner or later they'll fall over and hurt themselves, and that's the only way to learn. I found that I've learnt most of me from my mistakes and the pain I've given myself. I just looked at him, smiled, apologised, stepped back, let them carry on. They went back to the pubs, and I didn't listen any longer. I just posed different poses, resonant symbolism I think it's called, art, and then I went past the art gallery that's just opened and moved. They had a gallery in the what's known as a market hall, an indoor marketplace, that I started to claim that I was the first art installation disinstalled for no reason actually. I won't go into this story again. I'm not sure if there's a video on one of the channels here. It might have been on one of the deleted channels, Ebb and Flow or Anthony or Great Days they were. We had a good time there. I'm almost wishing that a friend who I offered my umbrella to, and he would not relieve me of my obligation to him, did actually keep the copies of the videos that he took without permission, though I did tell him when I walked away in disgust at his application of himself in ways that I had already tried and failed to make any imprint on bringing a world where all could live with dignity and equality in play. I said, relieve me of my obligation and remove me as a friend. He would not. And I said, well then, I am walking away as a good friend would, to leave you to your, I called it stupidity perhaps at the time. Any of my work that you have taken without permission, either delete it from your memories or know that any work you do in the future shall be taken from you as you have taken mine from me without my permission. So this gallery has opened a new place outside the place I'm banned from for no reason other than they're frightened of me actually. There's a few tribes in this area and we don't physically fight each other as such. No, we don't physically fight each other though. There's a lot of fear and this is to my family. We are legion, we know that. Put down the weapons, pick up the tools provided, realise yourselves, yourself. We are considering all life existence. It is our principle to create a world where all life can live with dignity equally. It will be no different for us now as it was then, as it will be anyway. We know that. We aren't the ones who've been playing games. Though I will readily admit that within the games that have been being played, I have had no objection to those who fear believing what they believe about me and my family, let's say. So family, we are legion, we know. Drop your weapons, pick up the tools provided, realise yourselves, yourself, each and every one of you. Good afternoon, it's good morning, good evening, it's good all the time. Good, what does good mean actually? Good. Well, the one time, or one of the times I did a Ouija board. Well, not one time, I did one as a 6-year-old, and this was when I was a 23-year-old. Is God there, I asked. The reply came, and it was from an auntie, apparently, of one of the participants in the Ouija board group, saith, God is good. Apparently God wasn't there anyway. they were saying it to reassure themselves that what they were participating in was good, because that's what they wanted to believe themselves to be. She was British, and there's very much to do as I say, not as I do. They'll do anything and say, they just keep smiling. Just as long as they get their way, they're not really interested in what goes on in between. Well, and I am British also, though that's not to say that that is my application.